Picture this, 3 in the morning, a dark apartment, and the only light in the room is a small blue rectangle, a phone screen held above a face that should be sleeping. The person holding it is not reading anything important. They are not solving a problem or waiting for urgent news. They are just scrolling, moving their thumb in a slow, automatic loop, looking for something, not knowing what. And the strangest part, the part that says everything, is that this exact scene is playing out right now in millions of apartments in dozens of countries across every time zone on Earth. All those faces, all that blue light, all that quiet, wordless searching, something is happening to us. Not a crisis with a name, not a disaster you can point to, something slower and stranger and harder to describe. A kind of interior weather. A feeling that the life you are living, comfortable as it is, connected as it is, full as it appears from the outside, somehow does not quite reach you. Like you are standing just outside your own existence, watching it but not fully inhabiting it. And if you have ever felt that, even once, even briefly, then you already know what this is about. Let us start somewhere uncomfortable. The human brain is approximately 300,000 years old. That brain, your brain, was engineered by evolution for one brutal, singular purpose: survival. Not happiness, not fulfillment, not self-actualization. Survival. It learned to scan horizons for predators. It learned to remember the face of an enemy. It learned to light up with pleasure when it found food, and flood with dread when it sensed danger. Because those responses kept the animal alive long enough to pass its genes forward. That is the machine running inside your skull right now. An ancient instrument of survival, transplanted with almost no modification into a world of food delivery apps, climate-controlled offices, and frictionless everything. For most of human history, life pushed back, hard. The earth resisted the plow. The winter came and did not care what you needed. The body broke down, and the only answer was to keep moving anyway. That resistance, that daily, grinding friction, gave the brain what it was built for: a problem, a direction, a mountain. Now consider what happens when you remove the mountain. When the struggle that shaped your entire species simply disappears, not because you conquered it, but because civilization quietly outsourced it. The internal GPS keeps running. It keeps scanning, broadcasting the signal. There must be something to overcome, something to move toward, something at stake, and finding nothing. That low hum of restlessness you feel on a Sunday afternoon, that is not laziness. That is an ancient navigation system spinning in empty space, looking for a mountain that is no longer there. Viktor Frankl noticed something about this. He was a psychiatrist in Vienna in the mid-20th century, and long before the war took everything from him, he was already writing about what he called the existential vacuum, the hollow that opens up inside a person when meaning disappears. He had a name for when it surfaced most clearly. He called it Sunday neurosis. Think about what that means. Monday through Friday, most people are occupied. Tasks, obligations, the machinery of a schedule keeps the mind busy and the question at bay. But Sunday arrives, the week goes quiet, and into that quiet, like water finding the cracks in stone, comes the thing that was always there, the awareness that you have been busy without being purposeful, moving without going anywhere, filling time without building anything. Frankl argued this was not a personal failure, it was a civilizational one. A society that gives people comfort and freedom without giving them direction produces a specific kind of suffering. Not the suffering of poverty or violence, but something quieter. The suffering of a person who has everything they were told they needed and still wakes at 3 in the morning searching for something they cannot name. There is a cathedral in Cologne, Germany that took over 600 years to complete. 600 years. The men who laid the first stones in 1248 did not live to see the walls rise. Their grandsons did not live to see the towers. Generation after generation worked on a building they knew with absolute certainty they would never see finished. And they kept working. Consider what that required, not just skill, but a kind of faith in time itself. A belief that what you build matters even if you are not alive to see it matter. That the work outlasting you is not a tragedy, it is the entire point. We do not build like that anymore. Our products are designed with planned obsolescence. Our content is made to be consumed and forgotten within 48 hours. We live in a civilization of extraordinary capability, and we use most of it to produce things nobody will remember by next Tuesday. The craftsman who spent 30 years learning to make furniture by hand, whose joints fit without glue, whose surfaces held the memory of the plane, is not just a romantic image of the past. He is evidence that humans, given the right conditions, are capable of a quality of attention and devotion that produces something close to the sacred. Not because the furniture is sacred, but because the devotion is. The calloused hands, the quiet dignity of a person doing something difficult that no one will ever applaud for. That is what meaning looks like from the outside. Unspectacular, unhurried, almost invisible, and almost entirely absent from the world we built. Now add to this what the screen has done to us. The neuroscientist Anna Lemke at Stanford University describes what she calls the pleasure-pain balance. The idea is simple. Your brain does not actually want you to feel good, it wants you to return to neutral. When something pleasurable happens, the brain compensates by tilting slightly toward discomfort to restore balance. For most of history, this worked beautifully. The pleasure of a meal faded and hunger returned. Now take that same system and feed it a slot machine that fits in your pocket. Every notification is a microdose of social validation. Every new video begins with a cold open engineered to make sure you do not look away. The algorithm is not malicious. It is simply running an optimization function for your attention. And so we sit, overstimulated but undernourished, flooded with sensation, starved for substance. The pleasure hits keep coming and the brain keeps compensating, tilting further and further toward a baseline of mild dissatisfaction. This is not a metaphor. This is biology being used against itself. And the result is a generation of people who are genuinely exhausted by joy, who find silence threatening. When a person can no longer be alone with their own mind without distress, they have lost access to the most important room in the house. Here is what all of this points toward. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and philosopher, returned obsessively to one question: what are you moving toward? 2,000 years later, the question lands exactly the same. Because the emptiness you feel is not a malfunction, it is a message. It is your nature telling you that the substitutes are not working. That stimulation is not the same as purpose. That connection measured in likes is not the same as belonging. The void is not the enemy. The void is the compass. It is pointing at the thing you have not yet built, the commitment you have not yet made. You are not broken. The people in those dark apartments holding glowing screens are just human beings running ancient software in a world that changed too fast. Meaning does not arrive. It accumulates slowly in the texture of a life lived with intention, in the work that outlasts the day, in the willingness to let Sunday be uncomfortable, to sit in the silence and listen. The cathedral took 600 years because the builders understood something we are still learning, that the things worth building are the ones that ask everything of you and give you, in return, the only thing that lasts. Not happiness, not comfort, a reason.